This is something we wanted to make sure we got into the show, an update on the story we did yesterday. The Boeing whistleblower John Barnett, who allegedly died by suicide, his friend came forward in an interview and said that there was no way that he killed himself, that he had told her previously if he was ever found dead by suicide, that it was almost certainly a result of the murder. Well, we are learning even more about the circumstances of his death, which are very fishy. Let's put this up there on the screen. It turns out Mr. Barnett was planning to drive home to Louisiana after his deposition on March 8th, before Boeing lawyers asked him to stay one more day to finish his testimony. His body was then found on the morning of March 9th. So he was planning on going home. He stayed an extra day last minute. As a result of that last minute stay, he is then found dead the next morning. Again, Charleston police claiming that this is an apparent suicide from the circumstances, but a lot of the details do not continue to add up. Let's go to the next one. As they show, Mr. Barnett was planning to start that drive after completing that testimony, and then something, quote, happened overnight at his hotel room, and he is found dead the next morning. This is direct testimony here from the people who were involved. They say John was really tired and he didn't want to testify anymore that day. He wanted to drive home to Louisiana starting that evening as he had planned. Told his mom he'd be home on Sunday, and it took him 2 days to drive home. I suggested we break for a week or two. The Boeing lawyers took the position no more depositions could be taken until Mr. Barnett had completed his testimony. Let's go to the next part here. This is especially important. The previous day, Barnett was on a roll. The video camera had recorded the event. He testified for 4 hours in questioning. This was following 7 hours of cross-examination by Boeing lawyers. He was really happy telling his side of the story, excited to field our questions, and he was doing a great job. Quote, "It was explosive stuff. As I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, this is the best witness I've ever seen." At one point, says his lawyer, the Boeing lawyer protested that Barnett was reciting the details of incidents from a decade ago and specific dates without looking at documents. As his lawyer recalled, Barnett fired back, "I know these documents inside and out. I have had to live it." So, Krystal, from the interviews, from all the testimony now, this man was an explosive witness with deep knowledge as to Boeing misconduct. And then, by Boeing's own request, he ends up staying an extra day, and he's found dead the next morning. So, you can riddle me that one if you want to.
People can judge for themselves.
Yeah, you can make up your own mind.
Of events. And this lawsuit was with regards to, he was a longtime Boeing employee. Obviously, according to this account and also interviews he's given, I mean, this has been put on display for the public. He had extraordinarily detailed knowledge. He was an extraordinarily compelling witness. This particular lawsuit had to do with his allegations that he was basically bullied and retaliated against and pushed out because of, raising the concerns, some of which we heard him raise in interviews and have been documented. He wants to go home. Testimony is pushed by the Boeing side to continue for another day, and then he is found dead, and his friend says he told him explicitly that if he was found dead, it was not a suicide.
Yeah.
As I said before, it is very convenient for Boeing that this man is out of the way. They have perhaps never been under as much scrutiny as they are right now. The number of incidents involving Boeing planes that are, happening on a near daily basis are insane. Of course, the situation with the door plug coming out, and endangering the lives of everyone on board has invited incredible scrutiny, and including a potential criminal investigation. So there is a lot on the line for Boeing right now, and Mr. Barnett was right at the heart of that.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that one of the things that Mr. Barnett had alleged in his whistleblowing lawsuit is charging that Boeing violated the Department of Labor statutes that said it was unlawful to retaliate against a whistleblower. He had alleged whistleblower retaliation, and he was actually seeking compensation from the company as part of this lawsuit, saying he was blackballed and didn't deserve what he was owed to him because his bosses failed to heed all of the warnings that he had given them. And he said that he was suffering from PTSD as a result of the way that he was treated. So look, I think Boeing is going to try and say, oh, he's a mentally disturbed individual and all of that. But from all of the testimony that they have right now, I mean, it's just one where look, so much of it too is it's so sketchy. For example, they say that all of his stuff was packed up, whenever he was found dead. Why would you pack something up if you thought if you're going to commit suicide? I mean, there's a lot of things, in the overall like minute by minute account of his death and of how his body was found and all of that. That still doesn't make a lot of sense. This all took place at a Holiday Inn. I'd love to see some camera footage about that room and all of that, and potentially even if he was blackmailed. We have no idea. Certainly possible that he was mentally disturbed and fell pressure to this. But the more that we learn about it, the sketchier and sketchier the circumstances get. So just wanted to flag that for everybody.
There was one other well, there were a number of pieces of information in this report that were new as far as I know. I recommend you read it. This was Yahoo, I believe, that put this all together. And one of the things that they said was that when he was found, there was some sort of a note that was with him. We don't know the contents of that note. We don't know what it allegedly says or didn't say. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. But obviously, massive, massive questions here about the circumstances surrounding his death. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.